You've probably heard of Stephen Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, but what if I told you he had a brother whose origin story is even crazier? This might just be one of Marvel's most haunting origin stories, and it's one you've probably never heard until now. So let's jump into the video and find out who is Victor Strange. Victor Strange was born on a quiet Nebraska farm, the younger brother of Stephen Strange, the man destined to become the Sorcerer Supreme. Stephen left home to pursue a career in medicine, while Victor remained behind. He began growing bitter as his brother began slowly severing ties with the family. That bitterness turned to fury when their father died and Stephen didn't even show up for the funeral. Victor, heartbroken and angry, traveled to New York to confront him. Their reunion was emotional. Victor unleashed years of resentment on Stephen and then stormed off into the street where he was struck by a car. Stephen arrived and tried to help him, but was too late and had to pronounce his own brother dead. Consumed by guilt, Stephen had Victor's body cryogenically preserved in a warehouse he owned, hoping that one day science might bring him back. Well, that day came sooner than expected. After Stephen's own mystical awakening, he attempted to resurrect Victor using spells from the Book of Vigilante. But in his inexperience, he accidentally invoked vampiric verses, transforming Victor into a vampire instead of restoring him to life. Years later, when Stephen faked his own death, the power to the warehouse was shut off. Victor awoke with temporary amnesia. Out of impulse and a hungering thirst, he attacked a mugger. Victor's awakening caught the attention of Laveau, the voodoo queen with a thirst for eternal youth. She summoned Victor telepathically to come to her. She then tried to use him as a pawn, commanding him to feed upon Morbius, whom she held captive, but Victor refused and escaped. He was soon found by his brother, Dr. Strange, who took him back to the Sanctum Sanctorum and placed him inside of a protective field while he tried to get a grasp on the situation. But unseen and unnoticed, Laveau manipulated things, leading to Victor escaping, stealing the Darkhold from the Sanctum, attacking Morgana Blessing, and returning to her. She then shot Victor with an arrow of Eros to make him love her and do her bidding. She named him Baron Blood and dressed him in a costume reminiscent of the original Baron Blood, John Falsworth. Dr. Strange and his allies caught up with Laveau and Baron Blood, and a battle ensued. Laveau and Baron Blood were able to escape and then fled to Haiti. Dr. Strange and his allies sought out the help of Brother Voodoo and pursued Laveau and Vic to Haiti. Once again, a battle ensued, and yet again Laveau escaped, but Victor was freed from her influence. They returned to the Sanctum, and Stephen pledged to his brother that he would find a way to cure him. Victor began a relationship with Morgana Blessing, who provided him with a steady supply of blood to help him resist his darker urges. Victor, inspired by his brother's heroism, tried to follow in Stephen's footsteps. He began hunting down criminals and killing them. When Stephen heard about the Baron Blood attacks on the news, he went to confront his brother. He showed Victor the consequences of his actions, that all of those he killed would return 3 days later as vampires. Together, they then took down the fledgling vampires. Victor chilled out for a while, but then began hunting criminals again. Morgana tried to warn him that he was losing control and that his thirst for blood was clouding his judgment. But Victor, consumed by hunger and guilt, grabbed his coffin and left Morgana. The original Baron Blood returned, so Victor adopted a new identity and began calling himself Chiron and continued his spiral into brutal vigilantism. Stephen, having to borrow Wong's body, eventually tracked Victor down, leading to a brutal confrontation. In the heat of the battle, Victor came to realize he had nearly killed an innocent man. Horrified by what he had become, he chose to end his cursed existence. In a final act of penance, Victor impaled himself with a wooden stake, ensuring he would never harm another soul. But as with most in the Marvel Universe, Victor would return. As a vampire, Victor Strange wielded abilities that far surpassed those of ordinary undead. He possessed superhuman strength, agility, and speed. His body could rapidly heal from injuries thanks to an accelerated regenerative process, and by consuming fresh blood regularly, he achieved a state of agelessness, immune to the passage of time. Victor also had the ability to morph into a bat and soar through the air. These supernatural gifts made him a dangerous and conflicted force, torn between his desire to do good and the monstrous cravings that haunted him. Well, that does it for this video. Thanks for watching. Peace.